the old ranger here, and today I'd like to talk to you about something that's very important to me, and I hope very important to you as well, and that's our public lands, their future, and the future of the agencies that manage them. As you have heard me say in previous weeks, I'm a retired ranger, retired park ranger specifically, but I've worked as a volunteer for over 35 years now with the U.S. Forest Service on the Chequamegon, Nicolet, Chippewa, and Superior National Forest, pretty much since I arrived here in Minnesota in 1988. Last week, the newly formed Department of Governmental Efficiency, or DOGE, under Elon Musk, cut 10% of the federal employee workforce, including the Forest Service, the National Park Service, and the Bureau of Land Management. For the Forest Service, this comes on top of a 7,400 person cut in primarily seasonal employees that are positions that will no longer be able to be filled. We actually knew about this last August, and during October I had a talk with the district ranger in Chequamegon, Nicolet, and he said that they were looking at the bleak prospect of not being able to hire any seasonal personnel. These are the people who do the maintenance on the campgrounds, they do the maintenance on the roads, they do timber cruising, biology, etc., etc. They're essential to the function of the Forest Service, and they were cut by a Congress that is anti, for lack of a stronger word, public lands. Just this past winter, a lawsuit by 18 counties in the state of Utah trying to seek control over the federal lands in those counties was rejected by the United States Supreme Court. But it bodes poorly for the future of our public lands, and the cut of the 7,400 positions and now another 3,500 in that 10% cut last week is going to do tremendous harm to the agency and to the resource. This movement, which has its roots in the western states, wants to gut our Forest Service and take our public lands from us. They want to convert them to state lands because it would be, quote unquote, more efficient, and then when the states can't afford to manage them, which they can't, then they would be sold off to private interests. That is the end game. You, as the American public, if you watch my blog or read my blog or watch my podcast, you know that I'm all about public lands. I love our forests, I love our parks, and I love helping out, volunteering, doing what I did for 26 years as a park ranger. But I don't get paid for it. I encourage you to contact your congressman, your members of Congress. Unfortunately, my member of Congress here in the 8th District of Minnesota is one of those proposing another rule change that would damage the Superior National Forest extremely, in extreme fashion. But I have contacted him nonetheless. I have contacted our two senators. I have actually sent an email to the President of the United States and stated in it that I do not want our public lands gutted. I do not want the Forest Service and the Park Service and the Bureau of Land Management gutted, that these are our heritage. these public lands, like this park I'm standing on, were created for the good of people, or in the words of my conservation hero, Gifford Pinchot, the first chief of the U.S. Forest Service, the greatest good for the greatest number in the long run. So I encourage you, contact your Congress member, excuse me, contact your senators, contact your the executive branch, the president and Elon Musk and Doge, and have them work to reverse these cuts so that our public lands remain in public hands and they remain cared for by those people who work for us and love the land the way we do. I will put a link down below on the blog post or on the podcast, and also put it up on the Old Rangers blog so that you can contact and make direct appeal to your representatives so that we can enjoy our public lands for us, for our children and our grandchildren for years and years to come. Just as an aside, today I'm back at Beckland Park. I'm actually on my Faber Wilderness Guide snowshoes because the snow is a little crispy, a little harder, and I wanted to have the cleats under me. So until we meet again, stay warm, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. But until then, contact your representative.